the president going all the way to the Ashanti region to hold a conference with the National House of Chiefs and also the MMDCEs to actually ask for some support so they can fight galamsey even better, and also to threaten, sort of, or actually caution the DCEs to be careful about the activities with galamsey, because he was not going to spare anyone who was fingered in this act. But in the studio this morning, I have Ellen Amadeko. She is a communications member of the NPP, and it's been a while that we had her join us in the studio. She's finally here after celebrating her 40th birthday. Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Welcome to the 4th floor.
Are you the one welcoming me?
Yes.
But you are on the 4th floor.
I'm getting there, so welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the 4th floor. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Everything okay? How was your celebration?
Oh, it was good.
Yeah?
So thank you to everybody who showed up, including Auntie Nanaya.
I even had a boyfriend there.
How's it looking like on the 4th floor?
So far,
So good.
I'm just 2 weeks.
Just to, they say life begins at 40, right?
Feel like she's
She doesn't. Anyway, also joining us this morning is Nanaya Chimpim Jantwa. She's the General Secretary of the CPP. Good morning.
Morning,
How you
darling.
doing?
I'm fine.
How was the party? You enjoyed it?
Oh, it was good. I
Yeah.
said I even got a boyfriend there. It was,
Hey.
I got somebody who was keen on me. Pa.
I see.
I want to see Joyce's
How is that going? How is that going? It's been 2 weeks since the party. Everything okay with this newfound
I
love?
don't know.
You don't know? Helen, please advise.
I don't even know the person.
Also joining us this morning is lawyer Joyce Bar Mukhtari. She's a special aide to former President John Dramani Mahama and also a former Deputy Minister for Transport. Good morning to you.
Good morning,
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Okay, you missed the party.
Yes, I was in Takoradi.
She actually thinks me.
I was in Takoradi, so I just sent her a text message
Yeah.
to wish her the very, very best.
Only text message go.
Oh, but she's in power.
What?
She should
I
be.
am-
So she doesn't need gifts, eh?
Oh,
What does that got
you
to
should
do
have
with
sent. You should have sent me a hamper crowd to commemorate the 40th. You didn't send anything.
I should send you a hamper.
Yes.
Oh, that's how it's done?
Yes,
For what?
A keepsake.
I
A
see.
mug or teapot or something with your nice photograph on it.
That wouldn't have been bad. I would have been looking forward to that hamper too.
Well, you get the one with the foundation stuff on it. So that one.
I see.
But not for
So there's
40th.
something
There's
at
always
least.
something. Eh?
Oh, okay.
A woman in
Beautiful
power.
stones,
there
eh?
ought to be
Yeah.
something. Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful stones that they
I
have there.
see.
Yeah. For the
Interesting.
jewelry, yeah.
Anyway, let's get into our conversation. And this morning, we'll be talking about the president. In fact, we'll play back some of the videos of him speaking to the National House of Chiefs and also the MMDCEs. And he's talking about the fact that, of course, galamsey poses a threat to our future and we need to do something about it. And remember that some 5 years ago, of course, when he came on, he did mention that he was ready to put his presidency on the line. He says that that stance that he took cost the NPP during the elections 2020, especially in the western region. But he's not reneging on that promise and is actually still ready to do anything possible to ensure that we win the fight against galamsey, except that he requires the total support of the National House of Chiefs and will not shield any DCE when there's evidence against that person to have been involved in galamsey. Let's listen to him and we'll get back.
Have been destroyed, forest vegetation cut down, water bodies polluted as illegal mining activities continue unabated across the country. The concerns from some quarters have been that traditional leaders who are the custodians of the land should be aware of these illegal activities in their backyard. Others have argued that the land ownership regime in Ghana means traditional leaders do not have ownership of all lands, hence do not control what should take place in lands owned by others. Per Article 2576 of the 1992 Constitution, every mineral in its natural state within the territory of Ghana is the property of Ghana and vested in the President on behalf of and in trust for the people of Ghana. In July 2017, President Akufo-Addo, addressing a sensitization workshop on illegal mining for traditional leaders, said he was prepared to put his presidency on the line in the fight against illegal mining.
Fortunately for me, in this fight, I have great allies. First of all, within my government. We cannot win this fight without the support of the traditional authorities of our country. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps it's the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter.
5 years down the lane, nothing has changed. Traditional leaders have often said the issue of illegal mining must be placed at the doorsteps of relevant state agencies who granted license to individuals and companies to mine. The Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II, speaking when the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer, called on him at the Menchia Palace, questioned the commitment in the fight.
If you create a system where we say we will stop it, to the extent that the president says, I've put my presidency on the line, and yet it is going on. At the district level, we have the political administration there. You have the district chief executive. You have the district security council over there. And that district, there's a galamsey going on. And you tell me we don't know who is there? Then, unfortunately, you are not where to be the district chief executive or the district security council there. Because that is meant to be looking after the security of that district. And that is not going there. So if you are not able to give security to that community by stopping galamsey, you are nowhere to be there.
The president's meeting with the National House of Chiefs and Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives to discuss the menace of illegal mining comes at a time the menace is said to be on the rise. It also comes 4 years after his then Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Haja Alima Mahama, in September 2018 said some Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives were engaged in illegal mining. She said government will soon name and sack all such MMDCE. However, the said MMDCEs were never named and some went on to be retained after President Akufo-Addo won his second term. It remains to be seen what will be the result of this meeting and whether the president will be bold enough after the meeting to sack MMDCEs said to be engaged in illegal mining or provide support for individuals and groups engaged in the destructive activity.
All right, so that's the president, of course, speaking there. Let's start off with Ellen, and the concerns are that this is also another talk shop. Remember that we had already organized a whole conference where stakeholders within the mining sector met and came up with ideas on how to further fight galamsey. It was organized by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Some ridiculous amounts were said to have been spent on that conference as well. And up until this point, we're still grappling with the fight of galamsey. The president going to speak to the chiefs and the DCs. Does that make any difference?
Well, it makes a lot of difference. Good morning, and good morning to our viewers. It makes a lot of difference because in as much as you would put out the military, you put out all the security agencies, you still need to engage those who are on the ground, as you put it. And chief among those on the ground is the National House of Chiefs, and then the MMDCs. They are actually those who are in the regions and in the districts where this is happening. The chiefs, well, in most cases, most chiefs are the custodians of the lands in their area. Even though by our constitution, they are just custodians of the surface. When anything is found under the land, that's for government. But they are the ones who actually take care of the lands. And then the MMDCs are the representatives of the president in those regions. So they are a critical group. So engaging them is important, very, very important. So I really do not see anything wrong with engaging them. In fact, I think the engagement by Mr. President should be more regular with them. And to see exactly what because the tides and the times change by the day. This fight keeps on evolving. The dynamics keep on evolving. So the engagement is very important. Over the week, we heard the Asantehene complaining about the fact that, and he said that this is not the first time he's saying this, that they do not even know. They don't have any say in how those licenses are given out. You are just there, and then somebody counties have been given a license to come and mine or prospect, and then the person would have to engage the chiefs, and then they start the process. So that's particular concern. I believe that the chiefs need to be roped into the giving of the licenses. I mean, I'm one person who believes, because if I'm the one on the land, and you are giving a license to somebody, most of these farm lands, you realize that they are farms, cocoa farms, there are cashew farms. There are a lot of things, economic activities going on there. So we need the chiefs in. The MMDCs, I have grouped them into two groups. We have the MMDCs who are very particular about fighting the menace in their districts.
Yeah.
And I believe they are in the majority. And we have the minority who are either engaged in it, or they are enabling it, or they are part and parcel of the whole problem. So he needs to engage them. And it's good he's giving them the warnings that he's giving. I heard one of the newspapers said an MMDC has been summoned, and he's been given 1 week grace because his wife passed on.
Yes.
But we need to get such people, the MMDCs who have been fingered and who have been called or who have been told. There are recordings. We need to ask him what's going on. And if he has to be sanctioned, he has to be sanctioned. Heads must roll. Because you cannot declare and put your whole presidency on the line. And still, it's going on. So the president has every right to engage the chiefs and the MMDCs. I believe positive things will come out of it. Some of us believe that he should have done the engagement more. He should continuously do it. Maybe quarterly, monthly, we should look at it. Because we need to get our environment back. Another statement that he made, and in a way I agree with him, in a way I don't agree with him, is the fact that he said we shouldn't politicize it. I agree with him because at the stage we are getting to, we need to get the problem solved. And as for the politics, we can always do it. So in that score, I agree. But in a way, I do not also agree with him because we have an opposition that forgets that they are also liable. That forgets that they are also part of the process, that we are all Ghanaians and we need to get it. So the
How are they liable?
And the politics would also come in.
How are they
liable? So for me, as much as Mr. President is saying we shouldn't bring politics, Mr. President, as for this one, the politics, we will do it, but we'll do it with caution.
But you're talking about opposition being liable, and I want you to
but
explain
Galamsey
further on
didn't
that.
start with President Akufo-Addo coming into office. Galamsey has been with us for years. Galamsey has been with us for eons. And when you see the opposition party, let me leave Anti-Galamesy's party out of it. They have not been in power for a while. But when you see the NDC going on and about the fight against Galamsey and how it has failed, just look at them like this and you smile. Because when it was their time, they practically gave up.
But it is your time now.
That is why I'm saying that the politics would be played. I do agree with Mr. President that we should go down on it and look at solving it. But when it comes up, that one we'll discuss.
But he's asking for evidence. Has there not been enough evidence to finger certain people within the party?
Bella,
which should be enough?
I haven't had any evidence. I haven't.
I'll go back to that video that Anas brought out
evidence.
About
the video Anas brought
the interministerial committee, and of course, remember that the chairman of that committee was fingered in that video, making certain statements.
The videos Anas brought was put up. The investigations were going. The people who went in were called. And the report came up. I think it is done and dusted. If you have any other evidence,
is it really?
Yes, I think so. You asked me. I think it is done.
It is done and dusted. Nothing was done to these people.
Nothing was done. Do you have any evidence that they did anything criminal?
What evidence do you need beyond the admission that they made in that video?
Whatever evidence that they made, you think.
I don't think it is.
Whatever evidence
that are out for everyone.
You think that the admissions they made, therefore they are evidence. Nothing stops you or TV3 from asking or arranging them before or asking them to be prosecuted. Whoever did the investigations decided that they were not liable. So unless you have any new evidence, the old one I don't think will hold.
But if the president is saying that he's willing to put his presidency on the line,
the president has said, and he has told which names?
No, but we've seen
the only
that
name
video.
that I have heard this morning is the MC for Bosome Freho, who has been called.
Just this week, the Ashanti regional chairman of the NPP's name has come up as well.
As what?
With his company.
As what?
And the indications that his company is also involved.
Do you have any evidence?
Involved in it. But what has been done about it? That's what we're asking.
That's the question. What is the evidence?
That's what we're asking about.
Do you have any evidence?
Those names
How
have
did
been
his name come
on
in?
the part of government, what have you done to find out if really some of these allegations are true
and when
or not?
did the chairman's name and his company come
You
up?
haven't heard about it?
It came up last week.
Exactly.
So if the president, just like the MMDC is asking that the MMDC comes and answer questions. I am sure Chairman's company, and you see the banter up and down with the Minerals Commission. Yes, questions are being asked. But when you tell me that they should be prosecuted how? Give me the evidence. So unless with everything, the Minerals Commission, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are done with that company and asking them to get out, they are in the process. Then we'll know what is happening. But if you tell me that he should be prosecuted on what evidence?
Former local government minister Haji Alima Mahama had said sometime in 2018 that she knew who the DCEs involved in Galamsey were, and in fact they were coming after them. Is that not enough evidence? On what basis did she make that statement?
Did she give us a list?
On what basis did she make that statement?
She knew. No, the fact that she said that she knew. Did she ever mention anybody's name? Did she ever set up a committee for us to know that it was this DCE or this is that, or it is all MMDCs and all DCs?
But is that not indication that you are aware as a party of the people involved in Galamsey?
No.
You're not.
This is a party matter. This is a government matter.
But it's your party that's in government.
But it is a government matter. And you are mentioning that a former minister mentioned that she did know the DCs involved. After the mention, she didn't give a list of the people involved. We don't know who was, or there was, that I'm not aware of. So when you go and bring that up, that shows that MMDCs were involved. Who are they?
But
or you have any evidence?
Senior minister.
Do you have any evidence? When she made that statement,
what did the government do about
when
that
she made that
statement?
Did you hear her mention anybody's name?
Did your government follow up
when you ask
to find
me,
out?
Why should the government follow up? She's part of the government. So I'm sure that the Ministry of Local Government might have gone into it and they might have sorted it out. But if you are asking me 4 or 5 years down the line that the people should have been sanctioned, who are they?
You don't know who they are.
How am I supposed to know? She's the one who was the minister, and she said she knew them. She never gave anybody's name.
So does it mean that you're not aware of some of these DCs?
What we are aware is a DCE whose names have come out. And so we have to follow up and see what happens with it. But when you are going back 3 or 4 years that a minister said it and she didn't give any name publicly.
Is it also not because over these years we've seen a lot more talk shop than action being done with regards to Galamsey?
What is the talk shop about it? When you see there's a whole, the military is put out there to clear people who are practically sitting in our rivers and destroying it. We've had the Operation Halt. There's continuous engagement by the military. There's continuous engagement by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, by the Ministry of Interior, and they are continuously on it. They are still on it. We see the minister going up and down, doing his work as he should. What is the talk shop about this? You still need to engage people. You still need to talk to people.
We've seen the military involved. There was a recent expose by multimedia about the military being involved. Natural facts, they were sent there to protect some of these Galamseyers. And so if you say that we put military in some of these areas to prevent it, there are those, even Operation Vanguard was cancelled because of some of these issues.
Are supposed to do, because now we are supposed to have an active battle. This is not even a fight, it's a battle against those who are doing the illegal mining, especially when it comes into our water and the fact that our water, where we get drinking water from, is being destroyed. So whether you like it or not, the military, the police, the Navy will be put out there to do it. Now the fact that multimedia has come up with what do you call it? You said they came up
an expose.
An expose.
Investigation.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it.
Yes, but whatever it is that they came up with, there's nothing wrong with them coming up with any expose that they have it, because no matter what, you're still going to have bad nuts in every situation. So it is good, but that doesn't stop us from still continuing with the fight. The fact that there are some people who are going there, whether in the military, in the police, who are not doing what they are supposed to do, does not mean that we should give up. We are not giving up.
Nanaya, was this meeting that the president had with the National House of Chiefs and the DCs necessary at this point in the fight against Galamsey?
Bella, good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to your viewers. Good morning to my CPP comrades. And good morning to my lovely sisters here. Ask your question again.
I was asking that was it necessary to have this meeting at this point to ask for the National House of Chiefs to support in the fight against Galamsey and ensure that we actually rid our country of this menace?
Is it the first time that the National House of Chiefs have been engaged on Galamsey? This is not the first time. I remember the young man, I always forget his name, the Abujina.
Yes, the finance minister.
Yes, he went around the whole country meeting the chiefs. That was a semblance of the National House of Chiefs. He had a program, a big program, at the International Conference Center. The chiefs were duly represented.
Yeah.
And money was spent. If the president is going this route, then I believe that there's a need to investigate how that money was spent. That is money down the drain. And I hear it was a substantial amount of money. People are saying it's 11.4 million Ghana cedis. What a waste that it didn't yield any results. Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is a fruitless adventure. That is not going to yield any results. Because you see, when you want to deal with a problem, you go to the root of the problem. What is causing galamsey? Apart from the periphery of employment and the young ones not getting jobs, what is actually, who is behind it? So we are able to tackle the people behind galamsey. We are just going round in circles. It becomes a rigmarole. It comes to nothing. People are losing their lives for nothing. Because you see, if we do not do what is right, the status quo will still remain. And the status quo is a very dangerous one. It is one that is destroying our environment. It is one that is destroying our water bodies. It is one that is giving us diseases. God only knows how many cancers will come up later on around where these galamsey activities are being taken place. So it is a very expensive business. And this charade that is going on, it doesn't seem that anybody is committed to it. Because the people that government arrests, Bella, they are very inconsequential. They do not matter. They are employees. They are people who have been employed by the bigwigs, the cartel, the people behind the scenes, the faceless men, the men in black, who are behind the scenes. They have employed these people to work for them. So if you go on a field and you arrest 150 people who are engaged in galamsey, it is neither here nor there. Because it doesn't make any impact. The young people are looking for jobs. So as these 150 people, some in neighboring ECOWAS countries, are put in prison or put somewhere or deported, these people who are in the cartels, the main people who have the money to buy these excavators to get the gold, will employ more people or other group of people who are willing to do it. I am not into galamsey, I'm not into gold mining. But I believe that for somebody to get money to buy an excavator, then the person is worth something. The person is rich. So why is the national security not fishing out these people? Bella, if you get a sore on your toe and you go to the hospital and that sore is not healing, the first thing that the doctor will do is to get to the root. He will do a test to find out if your blood sugar is high. That is the first thing. If you have diabetes, and that is the root. And if the doctor is able to isolate that, then they go on to other things. Now we are scratching the surface. Why Menchia? Why Otum for Spalis?
Why not there?
Why there?
Where would you have preferred
the Brim River is almost gone. There are accusations that there's galamsey in the Ochinland. And why should it be in the chief's in a chief's palace? Why? What is the significance? To show what? The Asantehene himself variously has spoken against galamsey. The one that my sister Amma was talking about, the lines, that one is the legal one, the small scale. That's they don't have any input, the chief don't have any input. This is the illegal one, going on behind the scenes. That we should go to the root. Who is responsible for bringing those people on site? And we will never stop saying that we should use these excavators to get the owners, because the owners of the excavators are the perpetrators.
So that's the evidence that the president may be asking for then.
But doesn't it? He's burnt all these excavators. And when we spoke about it, he said that if you want to, if you disagree, go to court. But that is evidence. Because well, if you are looking for me, Nana Achempim Jantwa, you should look for where I live. That is the route. Where does this girl live? Unless I don't sleep in my house. The evidence is the owner. If you look at my car papers, the name on the car papers will tell you who owns the car. My phone, it will tell you who owns this phone. So who are the owners of the excavators? That we are in a hurry to burn them to kill evidence. You see, we don't even, if we really want to fight galamsey, we don't even need to have all these adventures. The national security of this country, the police, not to even go on site, do investigations, the BNI, to find out who are behind this. Now, farmers are selling their farmlands for 20,000 Ghana cedis to these galamseyers. Who are they? Those small boys who are being arrested, do they even have 1,000 Ghana as their own money? As they do the galamsey, they can get some to sell, but do they even on their own money 1,000 Ghana? They don't. So who is paying 20,000 Ghana cedis to buy these farmlands?
But there are concerns that, of course, there may be party bigwigs who are involved in galamsey, which is why we're not seeing much happening. And we saw a statement from the Minerals Commission. This was just 2 days ago. And it did state that Akunta Mining Limited, which is owned, we're told, by Mr. Bernard Entry-Boisiaku, who is the national chairman for the NPP in the Ashanti region, has no license to mine in the country, and yet they are going ahead with it. I mean, what's the guarantee that...
When did they notice that he has no mining license?
He has no license.
No license to mine in Tano, in Nimiri,
not license to mine in the country. He has.
But I am saying that when did they notice?
No, they're saying that Akunta does not have. It says here that Akunta Mining Limited has no lease to mine in Tano, Nimiri Forest Reserve.
I am saying that when did they notice that? That now they are bringing it up.
You're saying this is too late?
You see, the thing is that this mining company has been registered at the registrar general wherever. It exists as a mining. Who is doing due diligence to ensure that this mining company stays in the reserve that they have been given? Now that we are saying that the president should resign, now they are doing something. At our press conference, the CPP said that the president has failed. And this one too, in trouble, that we have said that. Immediately this happened, they are trying to do something. But I am saying that if you don't employ the best tools in fighting, he said battle. That is the name, how Amma described it from government. He said battle, she said the battle. But you need to deploy the most sophisticated weapons to win a battle. If you go and take a machete or a cutlass to go to battle, you'll be defeated. So your weapons should be very sophisticated and well articulated. You don't just do a charade and come and sit down and say that. You see, we don't need rhetoric and words anymore. We are in danger. The whole country, this cocoa thing that they said that cocoa has been increased, blah, 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 the price. We are in danger in no time. I have heard that even the production has reduced from 1 million tons to now 800 and something. I don't know if it is true, but why is it so? Why is it so? But at the bottom of it, what is it? How, okay, what weapons are even given to these MMDCs to fight? As you are saying, some are party bigwigs. So me, MMDC, I'm at my district. Somebody higher than me is in this business. How do I deal with it? I believe that these MMDCs, when they met the president, I believe they were just laughing in their heads. But as the president was sitting there, they couldn't say much. They were just laughing because they know that fighting this menace is not just talk. We need to get to the root. Who is doing this? Till we are able to expose the people doing it, Bella, we are not going anywhere.
Let's take a look at a video, and Oliver, if you can pull it up, of the lands minister. Quite recently, he visited one of these galamsey sites, or actually the water body that's been affected by galamsey, and expressed shock at how devastating the effects were. And he was asking where the DC was and why he had allowed something like this to happen. Take a look at that.
All of you can see the level of devastation. It should baffle all of us as citizens, as policy makers, and as stakeholders in this fight, how an operation like this in the heart of the forest and in the faraway areas of our country can go on without notice by the police, the chiefs, the local political leadership, assembly people, the district chief executive, for example, and I should dare say even the Inspectorate Division of the Minerals Commission here.
And this was actually in Amansie South, where he was asking that how is it that something like this is happening? Where's the DCE and how is he allowing something like this to happen? The minority described this particular action by the minister as laughable because they said they didn't understand why he was expressing shock when they had visited some of these galamsey sites and had documented the effects of galamsey on our water bodies. I mean, but is it not understandable that he would visit some of these sites, lawyer, to understand or ascertain the extent of damage to these areas?
Well, a very good morning to you, and very, very, very disturbing facts this morning. And let me put it very succinctly. Actions, not words. I think that the celerity with which our president and his ministers and everybody speaks, especially in the aftermath of the expose by multimedia, speaks volumes. It tells you this is a fight that has obviously been allowed at some point to flourish. It speaks to what exactly the land take has been over the last few years. Indeed, since 2017. Why has the president not worked hard to provide an audit of just how much more land has actually been provided to persons to engage in small-scale mining, first and foremost? Why have we done no introspection about the costs of this fight, which obviously has failed? Why have we also not tried to tell Ghanaians that in terms of these engagements with chiefs, with stakeholders and all of that, we are expending huge sums of money? Money that could otherwise be used to work more on compensation, on mediation, on negotiation, on advocacy, or direct education, especially with the persons engaged in this endeavor. But above all, I want to state without any fear of equivocation that we ought to see some more action, investigations into the activities of bigwigs very closely related or associated to President Akufo-Addo, Vice President Bawumia, and of course to the MPP administration. I'm happy, I'm delighted that for the very first time since President Akufo-Addo was sworn into office, he has for once called for us to eschew partisanship. I had always asked myself why you win an election and assume that every effort, that everybody prior to your arrival did absolutely nothing, and that it was enough for you to just put your job on the line, knowing very well at the time that you had no intentions whatsoever. 1, to resign, 2, to leave the job, or 3, even that you had 100% commitment towards this fight against galamsey. So certainly we've seen all the exposés, we've seen the attacks, but yes, in the eastern region, we've seen as you drive through what has happened to the Birim River, for example. It is right across the road. It is visible to every user of that road. And so there can be no doubt that in the president's own backyard, indeed, what actually is more astonishing beyond even the lies and the charades we are currently experiencing is the fact, Bella, that, excuse me, the Ocheini was actually our very first campaigner against matters to do with climate change and to do with the environment. And that in the years since 2017, the most distraction we've seen are distractions to the Birim and water bodies in that catchment area. Surprisingly, very little or nothing has been heard from the quarters. Indeed, a few days ago, we received news about the challenges to do with cocoa exports. At a time when inflation is at an 18-year high of 31.7%, I believe it's probably more in the regions of 34%, where there is enormous hardship, where there are high prices of everything from fuel to food, that Ghanaians are currently experiencing hardship of a kind never witnessed before, where corruption is an all-time high. Imagine what will happen to us if we lose our ability or capacity to export cocoa. But I mentioned the issues to do with land take. And I'm happy you read that story, that somebody does have a license. You know, there are different categories of licenses. We have the reconnaissance licenses, and sometimes only after the reconnaissance, when you provide a certain updated report on the possibility or otherwise, or the viability or otherwise, then you are given a full license to mine. So there's always that period between the provisional as against the actual license to mine. What we are experiencing today is instructive. It tells you very simply, there has been no promptitude. There's been no expeditiousness in terms of this fight against galamsey. And indeed, even the persons who are actually deployed so to do, we are told, and this may be a rumor, that even they themselves are now culpable, or that maybe the attraction of the money is so high that they forget themselves. But you see, let's put this conversation in proper perspective. Why? We know aficionados, strong members, visible members. We've heard about Akunta mining. It is even interesting the names that they pick out. It is in the president's own backyard. He says if any of his appointees are involved, he should also speak about his party members.
But he says bring evidence.
Oh, Bella,
Because
what
evidence is the
does
name
he
of the
need?
game. He's a lawyer.
It is not your
That's what
duty
he
or
deals with.
mine to go and bring evidence to the president. What is happening on the ground is evidence enough. Those persons who are engaged, who pays them at the end of the month? How they receive their salaries? The gold that they are taking out of those pits, who receives it? They are certainly not the ones who are coming to Accra to export the gold. The treatment plants, where do they get them from? Who checks whether or not they are at work or not? You know, do you get me? Look, why would we continue to expend money and not do any introspection, not provide any audits? Above all, we are not even arresting or prosecuting anybody. You know, we overburden the question of evidence. Evidence is in the pudding. It is in where he is. And I would have hoped that after that meeting in particular, we would have seen the president even visiting some of these sites, trying to speak to, look, why? Mining has been with us for a very long time. But there was a time when also we were also focused more on sustainable mining. Remember that most of these mining companies have left. Indeed, where they are currently engaged largely in these galamsey activities are old mining sites that were abandoned, that were refilled and left. But of course, know that for the small scale mining, every small amount of it is okay, because eventually you probably put it all together and then it's still the same amount of money. But they are not looking for the huge investments of most of these other large mining companies. Remember that some of these huge mining companies, at least a few responsible ones we have actually been chased out of mining sites by the activities of galamsey. That they themselves face threats from some of these galamsey activities. Indeed, that our environment is now the one suffering the most is not in doubt. You know, years ago when I first started practicing law, most of our litigation was on behalf of mining companies. I knew the prospects of those communities. I knew most of these water bodies that we speak about now. I knew about the forest areas and how green they were. Visit some of these places today, and you see there's a certain dark smudge, like my skin color, on all the leaves that you see. You've watched the videos of persons who are farmers who now benefit more from leasing their lands out to persons engaged in galamsey. The persons in those pits, look at them. They cut a very miserable picture. They are certainly not the key beneficiaries. They are not the arch beneficiaries. They are certainly not the ones who should even be arrested. In any case, I ask a question. How far with the prosecution of Madame Aisha Wan so far? So far, the news is now so quiet. We're not hearing anything. There are no updates again about the prosecution. But ask another question. So far, how much of taxpayers' money has been expended on the activities of galamsey? What is the promptitude with which we are receiving? Look, the excavators that come in, they come in through our ports. Somebody goes to clear them. They pay huge sums of money to clear these equipment. We have all the washing equipment that comes in. Who clears them? It's certainly not the Minerals Commission. It is not staff of the Minerals Commission. You know, I don't think that there is any clear determination
There isn't?
No, there isn't.
But Ellen does point out the fact that when the NDC was in power, what really was the determination that they showed?
You know, I don't want us to reduce this conversation to a contest. And I think that sometimes when Ellen does that, it's just mischievous because maybe she doesn't want to speak truth to power. So I don't want to dwell on that. 2017 to 2022, how many years is that? If there is any determination to fight galamsey, in the space of a year, you would see results. In the space of 2 years, you see results. 2 years is a long time in the lifetime of any presidency. We're talking about 6 years. I don't want to belabor the point, please.
Okay.
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is president of Ghana at this point. In any case, what other sector has the president been successful at? Tell me. Apart from the fact that he himself is alive and his vice president is alive and campaigning assiduously to replace him.
He's not been successful in any sector at all?
Inflation is at an all-time high, 18-year high. We're not talking about 2017. An 18-year high. The World Bank has just come out with a report. Go and read it. On all the key indicators, poverty 4 years ago was about at 20%. It is currently 25.5%. We've gone lower on the poverty index. On inflation, we are on 31.7%. I believe it's 34%. Interest rates at 54%, an all-time high. The economy has totally collapsed on the watch of President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Bella, galamsey is just one of those failures in a long hymn now of failings by this administration. I don't want to belabor the point and speak to any issues to do with past governments or present. No.
Okay.
If I chose as a person to fight something in my life, to do some introspection in my life, I'm telling you that in 6 months, you'll probably find results. You'll probably see me and see something different. So 2017, right up to 2022, it will be innocuous. It will be disingenuous. It will be an absolute dishonesty to accuse anybody from the past for whatever your reasons are. Okay. And I'm sure there's a good reason why President Akufo-Addo chose to ask the press to leave at some point so he could have a one-on-one conversation. He may have made some admissions. He may have admitted to some omissions on his own part. He may even have admitted to some infractions on the part of his own appointees and members of his party, because, of course, they have the latitude now. And I'm told that the whole DC was arrested by the police when he tried to do what? To fight galamsey. So certainly, for whatever reasons, Ghanaians elected this administration. Bella.
Well, in that case, the DC was also being accused of the one actually being involved
so
anyway.
You see,
so we're not
who
sure.
Says
he says it was the police. The police says
That's
that.
what I mean. President Akufo-Addo
Anyway.
says he bring evidence. What kind of evidence does he need?
Okay.
When you read out a license that does not give you full rights.
Let's take a break at this point. When we come back, we'll also delve into the issue of the price of cocoa, the farm gate price of cocoa being increased by some 21%. Keep watching. We'll be right back.
Has 5 flavors: banana, strawberry, chocolate, coconut. What's the 5th one?
Banana.
Banana?
Okay, Dad. Including mocha, Cowbell has 5 flavors: banana, strawberry, chocolate, and coconut. What is the 5th one?
Strawberry.
No.
Are you feeling hot?
Honey, including mocha. Cowbell has 5 flavors: strawberry, banana, chocomalt, coconut. What's the 5th one?
Chocomalt?
Hey!
Coconut!
Hey!
Nutritious and refreshing, Cowbell has a flavor for everyone.
They think I don't know.
Cowbell, our milk. This advert is FDA approved.
What?
I love you, baby.
Don't you ever utter those words. You have no idea what love is. Just 2 weeks to our wedding, you disappear into thin air.
Oh.
And then you come back after a year and expect me to forgive you like nothing has happened? Hey, I am not stupid.
Oh.
Cinemazonia presents a Clement Owusu stage play, God Has Failed Me. It's on Friday, the 7th of October, 2022. The venue, the Takrady Technical University Auditorium, TTU. It's 6:30 p.m. for the first show and 9:30 for the second. Tickets are affordable. The regular, 85 Ghana cedis, double, 150, VIP, 200. For ticket reservations and other inquiries, you can contact 020-237-9408 or 0271-209-811.
The power, the performance, concentrated power, concentrated performance, the partnership of concentrated power. So Clean, the official regional partner of Paris Saint-Germain.
She's an African beauty. 13 weeks ago, we were just young girls who were somehow scared of what the future holds.
Fast forward to present day, where we have grown and have been groomed to be the very best amongst the rest.
It has been a long journey, emotional, fun, and most importantly, a learning experience. And now we stand tall as 5 strong, beautiful women ready to battle it out for the car, the crown, the cash, and many more.
It is the grand finale of Ghana's most beautiful, the most anticipated finale show, and my ladies and I are poised to give you a good show.
It will definitely be a night of rich culture and performances. Come support your favorite to become the next Ghana's most beautiful. Join us live at the National Theatre of Ghana on the 9th of October 2022 at 8 p.m. sharp. Tickets are going for 50 Ghana cedis. Performing live, DSL, Kwabna, and Stoneboy. Don't miss this spectacular night with amazing performances from our final 5 ladies.
GMB 2022, Ghana's beauty, Africa's pride.
GMB 2022 is powered by Gino and sponsored by GTP, Airtel Tigo, Camel, Techno, Silver Star Auto, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Insecticide Spray, and Napa Foods, Frytol, Fortune Rice, supported by
The whole world stops and stares.
My story.
My story.
Mixing in the hot and spicy with real life juicy stories from the kitchen. Watch our seasoned chefs and cooks toss and turn the pan in adventurous culinary competitions as they showcase Ghana, reveal sweet sizzling secrets from their cooking journeys, and open their diaries to marinate on memories whilst teaching special methods of cooking sumptuous, mouth-watering meals on the Chef's Diaries show. Chef Diaries, telling our own cooking story.
Chef Diaries premieres Sunday 16th October at 5 p.m. on TV3.
The sexual assault started when I was 3 years old.
I don't understand why you'd also take your daughter from her mother when she's still young.
Birth mother.
6, 7 years old.
Then he started having penetrative sex with you.
Not actually penetrated, just the surface.
Thank God that the father did not penetrate.
I don't think that man has any feeling or knows any pain.
A man who could treat a 3-year-old girl touching her sex organ, that man must not be taken as a joke.
She says there was no penetration at the age of 3. In fact, there was penetration with her hand.
Confessions shows Saturdays at 9 p.m. on TV3.
Welcome back. This is still TV3Newday. Ellen Amadeko is here. She represents the NPP. Nanaya Chimpim Jantua is the General Secretary of the CPP. And lawyer Joyce Ba Muktari is a special aide to former President John Dramani Mahama, also served as Deputy Transport Minister under his government. So let's go back. I want to hear from you, of course. A few concerns were raised, and then we'll get into the issue of the producer price of cocoa going up by 21%. But Ellen, I mean, what would you say to some of the concerns that were raised by lawyer about the fact that at this point, we need a lot more than just talking? And that's also something that Anaya had mentioned.
I agree with them to a point that we do need to actually move and make sure. My basic problem is with our water. Honestly, I just think that we need to get everybody off our water bodies. That is the main thing that I believe the ministry is very focused on that one. And they need to get everything off because Ghana Water is complaining too much. And I have to, I don't know what to say, whether my sympathies to Ghana Water Company for the losses that they have made in the past 1 week in relation to floods. Yeah. And it's terrible. So they are fighting on all fronts. They are fighting with excess water coming in through no fault of anybody's, is the weather. And then they are fighting with galamsey. They are fighting with theft. A lot of things. So for me, as much as action is needed and is needed now, and I believe that action is being done, but we still need to talk. You can't do things without speaking to people. You can't do things without connecting with the people who are down there. So for me, as we've all decided not to do the politics about it, I think it is high time we all know that in 2 years, just like the Ghana Water Company have told us, if they are not able to produce water, we are all going to buy water imported. That is the situation. And we should look at it and solve it. Because when it comes to buying water, nobody knows whether you're NDC, MPP, or CPP.